Hi, and welcome to the Stress Less Summit. I'm your host, Eleni, and I've organized this summit for schools to offer the IB diploma because I believe developing the well-being skills of staff, students, and parents matters if we want our schools to be healthy, happy environments where IB students can thrive. And today, I'm talking with Annie Rosignotti, who is an ex-colleague and a dear friend of mine who taught IB economics for 25 years. She's also the parent of two children who both successfully did the IB diploma. Annie now works as a tour guide and yoga instructor here in Athens. Annie, welcome. Lovely to have you here.
Hello, Eleni. It's very, very nice to be with you. I'm really, really happy and very excited about this. I have a little story to say, my personal story. And that starts from the time I was very little. As a child, I was feeling very intimidated very easily. So what others would think of me was extremely important. And this was causing me great anxiety. So I remember in class, that was my worst. If the teacher picked me and asked a question, I would be so stressed about what I was going to say, what my answer was going to be, the right one, the correct one or not, that I would end up unable to say a word. So I would freeze. I wouldn't be able to open my mouth, and then I would feel so ashamed. I would have a blank, complete blank. All my knowledge would flow away. Then I would go home. I wouldn't know what to tell my parents. I felt ashamed. I did not even feel worth of their appreciation and love. So at times my parents would go to school, talk with teachers, see what I would have to do about this. Exams were similar. At exams, I would forget the main terms. The main term, the most important terms I would have to use at a test, whatever that was, whether that was history or physics or chemistry, whatever it was, I would forget the main terminology and I would leave small blanks here and there. And on the way home, in the bus, all the terms would come back and I was so angry with myself. And what my teachers and my parents kept saying is, well, she has to try more. She has to study harder. And the more I tried, the more stupid I felt and brainless and silly and unintelligent and all of that. So really what I wanted at the time, but then no one knew, is that I needed some understanding. That's all I needed. I needed someone to say, well, I understand that you are stressed and this is normal. That's okay. You feel stressed. So just relax. My little story goes on. Then, of course, I tried and I studied I grew up, I studied various things. I learned 4 languages to speak fluently. Then I went to university. I studied economics, I studied history, archaeology. I became a yoga instructor, all sorts of things because nothing was enough. I was never happy. I worked for 25 years as an IB teacher. And the first few years of my teaching were extremely stressful. I was working like mad. I was working a lot harder than the students. I was trying to prepare the perfect lessons, and again, that wouldn't be good enough. And the problem was that because I was putting so much effort, whenever the students did not perform up to my own standards, I would be mad at them. I would be really angry and angry at me at the same time. Now, 2010 was a turning point, thank God. I started doing some personal growth work, an emotional therapist. So I got some more understanding of what is going on. So my perspective and approach to teaching changed completely. So from then on, communication, understanding, and mutual trust became my motto. In class, I started becoming more of a mentor, a coach, someone who shows how to do things, what is the way to knowledge, and not trying to give that knowledge. I was not anymore a walking encyclopedia trying to take the knowledge out of my head and putting it into the students had. Then I started trusting the students, passing over a lot of work and responsibility to the student, a lot of delegating of tasks to the students themselves. The students loved it. They started taking initiative. Their results started going up and up and up, I mean, skyrocketing, and year after year for the following years. My classes started getting fuller and fuller year after year. The subject became very popular at school. So that's where my first point comes from, which is that, first of all, we need to recognize that each one of us first, each one of you as a parent, as a teacher, and each one of our students as well, and our children, our own children, they have very, very special skills. Each person has a very special skills and a very particular and exclusive type of intelligence. And the second thing is that we need to remember that we need to feel trusted and that we need to trust others. So be trusted and trust. Mutual trust is number one, whether that is in family or in the classroom.
And I know that your second point is about feeling enough, and you touched on that a bit in your story as well.
As you say, I said a little bit about this feeling enough. Well, there's this thing I realized it's inherent in human nature to feel insufficient. So we need to recognize that this happens. This is a trick that our own mind plays to us. So whatever we do, never mind how hard we try, how good we are, our own mind, who is the biggest judge of ourselves, would never be happy. Now, this feeling of not being enough creates fear. The fear creates anger, and then this anger is against ourselves and against the others as well. Now, as parents, very often we don't feel enough. We feel that we don't do a good enough job. We try harder and harder and harder. And then when the children get to the age of 15, 16, when they have to show that they can perform or that they are, or whatever, they build their personalities, if they are not exactly the way we planned it or we would like them to be, then we start being angry at ourselves first and then at them. And this is when problems start arising in families. Now, in the classroom is a similar story. If we as teachers don't feel enough, that we don't do a good enough job, and we try harder and harder and harder, then of course the students will not behave or will not perform exactly the way we planned it in our head. And because of that, we will start getting angry, and then communication breaks. So my second point is that it's extremely important to realize that this is just a trick that our minds plays. And if we're aware, then we can start feeling enough. A good practice is to remind ourselves every single day that I am enough. I am enough in whatever I do. As a teacher, I am enough. As a parent, I am enough. As a person, I am enough. Extremely important.
I love that. And what about the feeling that we need to be in control of everything in the classroom and as parents at home?
Yeah, that's my third point, that from this feeling of not being enough, if we are not aware of it, then because we try hard to be good, whatever that means for each one of us, then we want to be in control of everything. We want to be in control of the way our children at home behave. We want to be in control of what friends they will make, of how they will spend their time. We want to be in control of how good they will be at sport and how much time they will spend at sports or in music or doing art or at school or studying maths or physics. Each one of us we have our particular, shall I say, not weak spot, well, our likes. You know, each parent, some parents want their children to be the best musicians or best artists or the best at sport or the best in maths or in physics or in chemistry or in English, history, whatever it is. So, and we want to be in control of this. And as teachers, similarly, we want to be in control of how the class will behave at all times. So whether a student will laugh or whether he will move, whether he will talk or not, or whether he will be taking notes or not, we want to be in control. The more we try to be in control, the worse it is. The less we are in control. The more we want to control others, the more the others will react. Because no one wants to be controlled. Do you want to be controlled? Do you, as Eleni, want to be controlled? Or all these people who are listening to me at this point, do you want to be controlled by somebody else? No, none of us wants to be controlled. So why would a student or a child in our family want to be controlled? They don't want that. So my advice here is let go of that control. Just relax, take it easy, let go, and just trust that everything will be fine. Trust this life, trust this universe, trust God, whatever it is for you, but let go, and then things will be fine. Actually, in my story, things started working really, really well when I started becoming aware of what was going on and I started letting go. No one can do it alone. There are methods, various methods and techniques in order to learn to let go, because that's the most difficult thing to do in life. And we all need to learn how to do it.
Powerful, powerful stuff here, Annie. Wow, lots of food for thought. Very insightful, very wise advice. So thank you very much for your time, for your wisdom and your insights.
You're welcome. Of course, if you want to learn some techniques, well, you can always contact me, or you can come to one of my trips and have fun and at the same time learn some useful techniques.